Hello, my name is Luz Vasquez, and I am currently a sophomore at Tarrant County College. And today I'm going to be answering a few questions you guys sent my way. I want to thank you all so much for your time, and let's just jump right in. So, the first question is, what are your greatest professional strengths? I believe they are leadership, consistency, and my interpersonal skills. I believe they're leadership because in my job at CHAPS as a cashier and a busser and a server, I often have been required to step in and help my coworkers out with any problems they might have, whether it be just because the customer was too angry at them and somebody else needed to step in and act as a mediator, or whether it's been helping my manager by relaying information from the back of house manager to the front of house staff. There's been plenty of opportunities where I have stepped in and helped somebody out, and I have learned that how to be respectful and balance leadership, and that's something I'll also be talking about a little bit later in this interview. I also believe that one of my greatest skills is my consistency. I've been working at the shop for a year and a half, and I started off as just a entry level, getting minimum wage cashier, and I've worked my way up to becoming a trusted member of the staff who's trusted by the owners, by my managers, and by my coworkers to deal with problems and get the job done and do it correctly. And I also believe that my interpersonal skills are a really strong skill set of mine. Not only do I have to have strong interpersonal skills with customers and dealing with their problems and just being friendly towards them, having a nice conversation, hearing about their problems, telling them about mine, just making a genuine connection. And I also am required to have a good interpersonal skills with my coworkers, my managers, and the owners. So with my coworkers, it's working to build trust between us, working to solve problems, working to deal with any issues that might happen in the store while we're on shift, or dealing with general issues that affect all of us, but also, of course, working with managers, working with the owners, telling them about problems that we're having when they're not in the store, that they're not aware of, and saying, hey, this is a problem, like, let's work to fix this. Here are some ideas that I have, and sharing them and relaying those to them. Now, what do I consider to be my greatest weakness, or one of my weaknesses? And I feel like my main weakness is that I have a tendency to be a fixer. I have a tendency to just problem solve, and I see a problem and I just fix it. And yes, that can be a strength. I can be a leader at times, but also I need to be careful that I'm not just solving my problems for my coworkers. And when I realized this was a problem was when I was training a new hire about 6 months ago, and she did the till completely wrong. And instead of explaining it to her and going through the steps and telling her, here's what you did wrong, here's how you fix it, here's what you should do next time, I just redid it for her. And I, of course, realized this was the wrong thing to do. It defeated the whole purpose of training somebody if you just do it for them. So the next day I came back and I apologized to her and I showed her how to do the whole thing right. And I explained to her why I do every single step that I do, and how, even though it takes a little bit more time, it saves you time overall, and how it can help you to avoid mistakes. And this one taught me to be more self-aware. It showed me that I do have a problem, and it's something that I take with me now, and I'm more aware of, and I try and rectify my interactions with my coworkers now. But it also taught me the value of apologizing to my coworker and telling her, hey, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And now we have a much stronger relationship, and there's a lot more trust, and we worked so well together, in part because I humbled myself a little bit and said, hey, I was in the wrong here, and here's what I should have done instead. And I went out of my way to fix it. And that was a really important lesson for me. And I've grown a lot from that. And I've worked harder to avoid future mistakes like that. Now, what is my greatest professional achievement? It's my unknown project for microbiology. Now, I'm most proud of this because it was my first solo project. It was the project that gave me confidence to know, okay, when I have a problem, when there is a task, I can solve it. And what my teacher did was she gave me a bacterial organism in a tube, and I didn't know what it was. And I had to utilize all the skills I had learned in that lab: incubation, inoculation, various staining tests, various chemical tests for enzymes, for fermentation, anything like that. And I used those to figure out what was in that tube. And after utilizing all these laboratory techniques, I used my database research skills to present a paper to my teacher telling her about the organism, telling her about specific research that had been done in the last couple of years, about specific things about that specific species of that organism. And so that was a project that not only gave me confidence in myself, but it also taught me that this is what I have a passion for, that this is what I love to do. Now, the next question you guys asked me is to tell you a little bit about a challenge I'm facing at school or at work and how I'm dealing with it. And honestly, the biggest challenge I've dealt with is just balancing the two. I work about 35 hours a week at work, and I take pretty much a full-time load at school. I take 11 hours, which is about an hour under a full-time load. And managing the two and making time for both is really difficult at times because there is so little time. Sometimes I'll have 3 tests in one week, or I'll have a project and a couple tests, and finding time and finding just a couple little hours to study or in between classes and work is so important, because just finding time and managing my time is a skill that I'm going to use for the rest of my life, because I'm always going to be struggling to deal with different things. I'm always going to have competing interests and competing priorities. And since I am learning to deal with it now, I feel like I'm well prepared for the challenges that are going to face me in life, because this is something I'm not just, okay, I'm just going to ignore this problem. No, I'm taking this problem and I'm dealing with it. Next question you guys asked me is about a time I've exercised leadership. And I feel like the best example of this is when I trained my manager. Now, in my time working at CHAPS for the past year and a half, I've had 2 managers. The first one hired me, and he'd been working there for years. But when he quit, we got a new manager, and he was an outside hire, and he had never worked in the food industry or food management before. So there were just a lot of things that he didn't know, like very little things that I had to teach him and train him how to do. And just getting him accustomed to our duties, how the store runs, where things are in the store, little things like that. So this is a really good example because it taught me how to balance being respectful towards him. Obviously, he is my boss, he is my manager, I need to be incredibly respectful towards him, but also how to be assertive, how to say, okay, no, this isn't right, this is why we do it this way, and how to meld those things and work towards having a good relationship with him as my boss, but as still saying, okay, here's how to do this a little bit better, here's how to improve yourself. And I think that give and take really taught me a lot, and it's something that I've taken into training any other coworker that I've had. How can I be respectful towards you? Because even if you're not my boss, I still need to respect you. You're still my peer, and I can still always learn from you. And it's a lesson I take with me now. Now, what type of work environment do I prefer? I prefer a work environment where I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly being challenged to grow. And really what that means is that I want a work environment where my team, my coworkers, my classmates, whoever they are, whatever environment I'm working in, is encouraging me to be a better version of myself, where we're all building each other up, where we're all encouraging each other to be the best versions of ourselves. How would my boss or my teacher, classmates, or coworkers describe me? I think my boss or my teacher would probably describe me as somebody who is hardworking, and especially with my boss, I think they would describe me as somebody who can be trusted and relied upon to do the job, to get it done right, and to handle problems when they're not in the store, when they're not there. I think my classmates or my coworkers would probably describe me a little bit differently. I think they would say I'm somebody who likes the job done right, even if it means I'm a stickler for the little things. But I think they would also say that I'm not just trying to be nitpicky. I really do care about getting the job done right, and I really do care about getting things done correctly. I want things done right for a reason, and there isn't any standard that I hold my other people to that I also don't hold myself to. The next question you guys asked me is, how do I handle stressful situations? I think the most important thing first and foremost is to not shut down. If somebody's angry with you or yelling at you or in your face, you can't shut down. You have to be calm, you have to be collected, rational, even if it's hard. And once you can manage that, I think the next thing you need to do is figure out what the problem is, what is expected of you. And you really need to ask questions and make sure you fully understand, because if you don't understand, that person is just going to be even more upset with you because you haven't been listening to them, or they're going to feel like you're not listening to them. So that's why it's really important, even if it's what seems like a silly or stupid question, to make sure you really do understand what the problem is. And once you understand what the problem is, then you need to identify what went wrong. What's causing this problem? Is it something you're doing? Is it something somebody else is doing? And then, of course, once you understand what went wrong, you need to figure out a way to fix it. It's really important to analyze the different methods or different actions you can take now. What is the best solution to this problem? What is the best solution for the person having this problem? What is the best solution for what is expected of me? What is the best way I can go about this? Don't just go with your first gut instinct. Really analyze and try and figure out how you can handle this problem best. Now, where do I see myself in 5 years? In 5 years, I see myself having graduated with a degree in biomedical engineering, specifically within the tissue engineering track, getting into a PhD program, and doing research with the professors within that program. Lastly, why should you hire me? I think you should hire me because you wouldn't just be hiring Luce, a sophomore who goes to Tarrant County College who's trying to get her degree. You're also going to be hiring Luce, the girl who is constantly working to better herself, who's constantly looking for feedback and ways she can improve and ways she can grow. And that's why I believe you should hire me, because I will be bringing the best to your team. I will be bringing the best version of myself. And the best version of myself is better than the person I was the day before. I want to thank you guys so much for your time and your consideration. Thank you guys for listening to me, and I hope to hear from you all soon. And I hope to be working with you guys in the near future. Thank you. Bye.